think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. You know, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really has been a tough first year for you, Mr. President. Gas is up, gas is up, gas is up, everything. Rent is up, everything, everything, everything. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Free for All Friday. So if you're here live on subscribestar.com or thepreparedmind.club, both of them have a premium service. Both of them are $2 a month. Both of them support this channel and what we do. Hey, we've got some good stuff to talk about. We're going to do it it's kind of like a shotgun fashion. Man's behind the scenes with the mighty blue wrench and the button to put your questions on the screen. Folks, Monday through Friday, you don't have to do a super chat donation to get your questions up. You're already super in my book because we're all here together talking about what is coming. And of course, I want to let everyone know Sunday Night Live is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same bat time, same bat channel this week. On Sunday, it'll also be Father's Day. So us fathers out there, well, we're ready to get our funny socks and our boxer shorts with an unusual comic print or something ridiculous on them. We know our place in life. That's what we get. We're used to it. And if we don't even get that, we get a little touchy. Anyways, welcome back to the show. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. What we're going to do is I'll do a question, comment, thought. You guys can bring your stuff in. I'll do some of my stuff. Your stuff will go back and forth. Bam, 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 bam. So get your questions in now. Get your thoughts in now. And I titled this one, right, Who's the Hero? Got a lot of interesting things going on lately. People fighting back. Maybe we'll find out by the end of the show who the real heroes are and who they aren't. All right. So there was one thing I wanted to start off on, and while I'm being very careful, got to be very, very, very careful with these people, folks. Let's see. Where do we want to go? Where the heck is it? I don't know. Let's start with this. Traitor to the Constitution. There was an article written by John and Nisha Whitehead. It came through the Rutherford Institute. And it really was titled Traitor to the Constitution. The U.S. government is the real criminal. Now, when I grew up, I looked up to the government. I knew it wasn't the best thing and it wasn't perfect. But by golly, they were Americans, right? They were Americans at the very least. So I took a little clip. I'm going to read from the article. Remember, this is from John and Nisha Whitehead at the Rutherford Institute. And some of their writing style sounds a lot, I think, like the way I talk. So, you know, is the government, are they our heroes or are they our adversaries? So here's from the article, quoting, consider, if you will, all of the dastardly, devious, diabolical, dangerous, debilitating, deceitful, dehumanizing, demonic, depraved, dishonorable, disillusioning, discriminatory, dictatorial schemes inflicted on we the people by a bureaucratic, totalitarian regime that has long since ceased to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And here are some of their complaints. Americans have no protection against police abuse. Americans are little more than pocketbooks to fund the police state. Americans are no longer innocent until proven guilty. Oh yeah, January 6th protesters, President Trump, anyone? Americans no longer have a right to private property. Make a mistake, they'll confiscate your stuff. Americans no longer have a say about what their children are exposed to in school. We cover that here just about daily. Americans are powerless in the face of a militarized police. I do not agree with that. Americans are not powerless at all. In fact, we're incredibly powerful, which is why the police have had to try militarizing themselves and their equipment and their tactics to try and gain some advantage on us, and they still can't measure up. They're the police. They're here to, well, try and keep the peace. but they aren't a military. Let us continue, though. You know, again, like I read articles. You may not always agree with me, right? You may not always agree with the things that are discussed, but it makes us think. We talk. We get to hear from one another. So let us continue, though, with the article from the Rutherford Institute. Americans no longer have a right to bodily integrity. That's right. Take your Jim Jones juice. Americans no longer have the right to the expectation of privacy. Hello, Internet. And if someone says the N-word anywhere near your security devices, you could have your shit turned off. That's right. Your life is not yours anymore. You've given permission. Now, Americans no longer have a representative government. No, our government is, it represents corporations. And folks, it says, I haven't even touched on the corporate state, the military-industrial complex, SWAT team raids, invasive surveillance technology, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I asked the question, who are our heroes? Are they in the government? Is the government looking out for us? What's your opinion? And if your answer to any of this is, yeah, that's a problem, then you need to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense with your plan. Folks, despite the facts of the existence of a tyranny, the government still fears us, as I described, and knows we can defeat it. That's why they're after us. That's why they push so hard. That's why they try and scare us. That's why they propagandize us. That's why they tax the shit out of us. That's why they bully us. All of those things. All of those things. Time will show us who's going to win this, folks. And never, ever, folks, think the government's going to win and win forever. Because when the government destroys the people, destroys the economy, destroys everything, government fails and withers because there's no one left to support it and no one left to obey it, right? The government cannot exist on itself. That is the Ouroboros, the tail being eaten by the snake that owns the tail, right? There's not enough. Government doesn't create. Government can only consume and destroy, and it'll destroy and consume itself. The Ouroboros. All right, that was my opener for the show. So let's do this. Man, let's see who wants to step up first today. What do we want to talk about? Meaning you guys. And it is H12, Heidi. And she says, before I forgot, man, what happened to the slimy kid banker that was laundering money for the DNC, etc.? Well, man, she's asking you to answer that, but I think she means Sam Bankman-Fried, fraud. That guy. I didn't hear that he was sentenced to anything. I must have missed it. I must have been asleep that day. I must have been in a coma because the last time I heard about the FTX CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, he was freed on bail, sent to his mommy's house where he was under house arrest in her basement while he was still trying to bribe people to protect him. And this is the same clown, folks, took your money. People that invested into environmental social governance and crypto stuff. They got screwed because this little clown took money and sent it to Ukraine. That's right, folks. Ukraine, the land of lollipops, unicorns, and Skittles. Well, taste the rainbow. I guess, you know what? In fact, I haven't seen a Skittles commercial since these fruitcakes have not really gone out there. I wonder if Skittles is worried that if they keep saying rainbow, that they're going to have people boycott their product. Anyways, man says, last I heard, he got 7 years. 7 years for stealing, laundering money back to the Democrats, including Joe Biden, who would not answer either how much he got or if he was going to give it back or not. In other words, he's accepted stolen property. Isn't that a crime? Right? Selling stolen property, receiving stolen property, stealing property, it's all the same. You're not allowed to possess stolen property. You must return it. Not thankful Joe. He's grateful that he was supported. And since he doesn't know whose money it was, he can't give it back, right? This fucking guy. People had billions and billions stolen. He gets 7 years. He'll be like 32 when he gets out. 33, 34 he gets out of jail. How many billions of dollars does Sam Bankman-Fried put in an offshore account for himself? One of those numbered Cayman Island accounts, perhaps? I wonder, did he convert it to gold or some other precious metal where it's sitting in an allocated account in, say, a Loomis or a Brinks warehouse under guard and key? Makes me wonder. Makes me wonder. Because I think he still had access and control of all this money even after his arrest. Like, it's what a shit stain of a system, folks. What a mess. Okay. Tucker Carlson followed up on Fox News's ticker that they had at the bottom, the tray. It said, it was calling Joe Biden a wannabe dictator. Wannabe? Well, I mean, literally, is Joe Biden a hero? Is he a dictator? Is he a wannabe? Or is he now acting as a legitimate dictator? So we have to ask ourselves some questions about people we knew were dictators, like Stalin, Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Communist Union, or Chairman Mao of the Chinese Socialist People's Republic, or Hitler, fearless leader. Fearless leader. Wow. Fearless leader of the Nazi Socialist Workers' Party of Germany. Well, right, they were dictators. Well, if Stalin, Mao, and Hitler's political opponents were continually harassed by the media, attacked by celebrities, banks, corporations, what would you think of them? Would you think of them as dictators, sending their minions out there? Well, if Stalin, Mao, or Hitler's political rival was investigated continually and threatened with prosecution, investigated by special counsel, the FBI, the CIA, threatened with prosecution by attorney generals and state attorney generals and little turd balls everywhere, year after year, what would you think is happening? Yes, I think you would agree that they were dictators, Stalin, Mao, and Hitler, for doing such a thing. Yet we see the same thing coming from Joe Biden and the Democrat Party and his minions in politics, media, corporations, entertainment celebrities, etc., etc. Now, let's try this. Let's look at it this way. If Ronald Reagan had Bill Clinton arrested, would anyone think anything other than a dictator was showing his colors and his lawlessness? Right? Reagan didn't have to be a dictator, folks. His ideas were better than his opponent's ideas, and the American people liked him the best. He explained himself. He made sense. No threats, no harassment, no arrests were needed. A dictator, folks, needs propaganda. A dictator needs liars and cheats to cover for him or her Hillary. Right? A dictator needs to have authority and arrest powers through his bureaucracy. And we're seeing that now with Herr Biden. Remember him standing in front of the podium with the CGI Marines behind him? I still don't know. I think it was CGI video crap. But all that red light and everything else, very communist looking, very socialist looking, very dictator-like, very Big Brother-like. That's what we got. Folks, get your questions down below, your thoughts, your comments. Right? Today, who's the hero today? Who today is a hero? Right? Is Tucker Carlson a hero for being a member of the media that's actually going after these evil bastards? Is Donald Trump a hero for being the one who is taking all the arrows and showing us exactly who the government is, what the government wants, and what the government doesn't like from us? I think that they probably stand in that capacity. Would you like to be Trump? People go, oh, hell yeah, I'd love to have all his money. Well, would you like to have all of his enemies as well? Literally, folks, the man's being sued hundreds of times a day by people. that are trying to chew up his fortune with lawsuits. He's being investigated by multiple district attorneys, attorney generals, and of course, the Department of Justice and Attorney General in Washington, D.C. In fact, another prosecutor threw their case out. They just gave up and said, fuck it, we can't go after Trump. There's nothing to get him on. Isn't that interesting? Totally interesting. Okay, let's do this. Let's have some more fun, right? How much, how far, who is right up next? Folks, we have this. As far as I'm concerned, let the sniveling begin. Student loan payments, remember that? Remember that story, student loan payments. Guess what? Those payments are going to have to restart soon. I didn't know they weren't paying any money. Here it is, halfway through 2023. It was early in 2020 that the government said, we're putting a moratorium. You don't have to pay back your student loans until we say. Over 3 years later, they're going to start resuming. Folks, let the sniveling begin. The millennials, the centennials, the losers out there who got a loan that you guaranteed. That's right, American taxpayer, you're on the hook. You are on the hook. Guess what the government could say? Guess what Joe Biden would love to say if he had the authority? And that doesn't mean he won't say it even though he doesn't. He could say, the federal government hereby forgives everyone's student loan. Guess how many votes he just bought for the Democrat Party? How very interesting that the student loan payments are going to begin, and Joe Biden has the opportunity to be the hero. That's right. Is Joe Biden a hero? Is dictator hero good because he's going to forgive all that student loan debt? Well, he's going to forgive them, and the government assumes the debt and asks you to pay it back. It just goes in the old, what do we want to call it? Yeah, the national debt. Well, for now, let the sniveling begin. All of those poor students out there who partied for 4 to 6 to 8 years and never made anything with their lives or with that education. Yep, that's right, folks. That's right. Who's the hero out there? Let's look at some potential candidates. There once was a president named JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, back from 1960 till his fateful departure in November of 1963. JFK got shot in the head, assassinated. Well, his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, was his attorney general. He too was assassinated. Some people believe JFK Jr.'s son was assassinated, that his plane crash was full of all kinds of big fat question marks. But Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr. is still alive, and he's actually out there fighting for a cause. Robert Kennedy Jr. was with Joe Rogan just recently, and he says this, quote, I'm aware of danger. And he's talking about CIA assassination. I'm sure if RFK Jr., who is still alive today, if he were to show up dead, or rather not show up because he's dead, do you think America would suspect the Central Intelligence Agency? Do you think they would suspect the FBI? Of course they would. And he is very aware. I don't think there's one conspiracy theory since his dad was killed that Robert Kennedy hasn't listened to. I wonder how much of his life he's lived in fear. And I wonder how much and when he decided, you know what, to live in fear is not to live at all. But you have to live your life. Live your life. And I hope that Robert Kennedy Jr. has, and he probably has, but he also is aware, folks. So as preppers, as patriots, you and I, we get to be aware. But we also need to understand, just because we know bad people are out there who want to do bad things, we're not going to live in fear. There's no reason for that. Okay, get your questions down below, your thoughts, your comments. It's been a long week. You can talk about anything you want, because this is the free-for-all Friday. Any prediction you see coming forward, you can talk about, because it's the free-for-all Friday. And this is where we mix it up, shotgun style. So questions below, then mine, me, you. Okay, man. Let's do another one. We got Mikey G with a smart-ass comment. Says, Santa Claus always wins. Santa Claus the hero? Oh, no. Santa Claus the Biden. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. Biden is Santa Claus. Biden would love to give everyone everything that he can. If Biden could, if Biden had the authority, if Biden knew it was good for him, if Biden knew what planet he was on, he would forgive the student loan, and he would be Santa Claus to those full-grown children. Many of these millennials and centennials, folks, unless they're out there in a job, busting their ass, paying their taxes, taking responsibility for their own lives, instead of blaming their parents and blaming Trump and blaming everyone else for it. Well, yeah, they are full-grown toddlers. But they would also, well, if Joe Biden gave them student loan forgiveness, guess what? They would love to vote for Joe. Why wouldn't Joe then turn around to every homeowner out there and say, hey, your mortgage debt forgiven? Oh, he would have everyone excited. Everyone would be thrilled, Republican or Democrat. Thank you, government. Thank you so much. Now, hell, while we're at it, let's be generous and forgive everyone's auto loans. See where this is going? Santa Claus Biden, our hero. Well, you know, what's interesting is those who don't have a mortgage, they get nothing. Those who don't have a car payment because they paid their car off, get nothing. Those who paid off their student loans all by themselves or paid off half, right, get nothing. Wouldn't it be more fair? Because isn't it about fairness and equity? Wouldn't it be fair to turn around and say the average mortgage is $150,000. The average car loan is $10,000. And averaging every American into the number or total dollars of trillions, well, that's another $30,000. So let's just say, yeah, $200,000 is the average home, car, and student loan debt. $200,000. Shouldn't we all get $200,000? And you can put it towards your house or your car or whatever you want, or you can just put it in the bank and save it. Yay! Wouldn't Santa Claus Biden just do really well with that? Except all that debt would be transferred to the federal government. And what are they going to do? They're going to pay it back at a higher interest rate. In other words, we'll all be taxed for it. But those people who had and lived under a lot of debt, which many people would say is irresponsible, if they weren't being responsible about debt management, there are people who are, folks, very responsible about it, and they do carry a lot of debt, but they also make a lot of money. And they work very hard. So I just think it should be equitably, fairly spread. Let's spread the wealth, share the wealth. Well, you know what I think? Here's what I think. I think that Santa Claus should tax the rich. Tax the rich. If you've got $10 million or more, they should have to pay their fair share, right? Well, here we go, folks. I think Hunter Biden, we should start with him. That's right, folks. Now, apparently, allegedly, maybe Hunter Biden has a bank account in Malta that's linked to $10 million. That sounds a lot like that same number having to do with Burisma's bribe number. I wonder how they're finding this stuff. Now, I'm going to go full on conspiracy with you. Not as a legitimate theory, folks, but because it's funny. Let's have some fun with this trash. And folks, again, thank you for showing up and having fun and talking with me. Let's have some fun. Let's do a conspiracy theory, huh? Who wants conspiracy? Here we go. Hunter Biden is being exposed. This bank account, the other bank accounts, the computer stuff. Joe Biden is being exposed. The media is even asking questions about bribe money, Ukraine, Burisma. Heidi's asking about the FTX money and where the hell it is, right? Everyone's asking questions. But just yesterday, we heard that anonymous Russian hacktivists are going to attack the European banking system and the American banking system. And lo and behold, it started happening. That's right, folks. Money. The money sniffers have sniffed out where the Bidens have gotten their money from, moved their money to, and keep their money. At the same time, the banking system, bank records, hello, banking computers, hello, are being threatened by hackers. Mr. Orlando sent me a message today saying, you know what? And I'm paraphrasing. Sure seems like there's a connection here, right? Like we're being tricked again. I think so too. I think the hacktivists are probably agents provocateur, or rather people who are allowed to hack, work at the behest of the government. They're given access codes. They're given clearance. They're allowed to move past firewalls with passes. They're allowed to get in and cause trouble in government and banking system, right? Because what better way to hide all of Hunter and Joe and the rest of the Biden cartel's money? What better way to hide it than to have a bank computer blackout? And then, hey, because of that, we all need to be given central bank digital currency. That we need universal basic income, UBI. They need to give us government money to help us get by. Right? They're such big, mighty heroes, aren't the banks? That's right. They're going to hide their fearless leader. They're going to let him just be swept away. But if they did shut down the banking system, folks, guess what? Everyone would be so worried about themselves that they would forget all about Hunter and Joe. Now, thankfully, I'm prepared enough that, yeah, I'd be worried about myself and my family, but I got enough up here knowing to watch them still. Right? But that's what they want to do, is distract us. Distract us. And another thought was brought to my attention today. Would they be willing to go to all-out nuclear war or limited nuclear weapons use in order to distract us? How many levels of distraction do they have to layer in there? Right? How many layers? Got to arrest Trump. That didn't distract people. Got to have a banking crisis because of hacktivists? Maybe. Got to have some all-out war. That's right. Apparently, there's some military action going on with Poland today. We've got Belarus threatening people with nuclear annihilation and nuclear Armageddon and nuclear apocalypse. And then I think still, folks, at the very top, you see, they don't want to destroy the planet. They just want to scare the hell out of us and shut us the fuck up. At the very top, they still have the alien invasion card to play. The alien invasion card. They could have an Independence Day moment and fly some big old spaceships over the top of everything. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, man, whose shot is it next? Who wants to take a crack on the Prepared Mind channel? Hey, it's H12 again. And Heidi writes, John, if the government had offered that to my parents, they would have been mortally insulted at the insinuation they were unable to pay it themselves. Different times, different attitudes. Oh, it is different times. And it's definitely different attitudes. What she's referring to is if Uncle Joe Biden, Santa Claus, let's go Brandon, F.U. Biden, that guy, if he started giving money away, bailing people out of their mortgages and their car loans, right? Their student loans and their credit cards, right? He would be a savior, right? He would be a hero instead of a dictator. Or not. Now, yeah, let's see. A brand new home, folks, in the early 1960s to the mid 1960s. Do you know what a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath costs in Los Gatos, California. Los Gatos, folks, where now a house is anywhere between $1.5 to $4 million. A home back then in the early 60s cost $14,500. $14,500 for a nice little ranch home in Los Gatos, California. So if you look at what people made back then, yeah, it was a lot less, but it didn't seem like an insurmountable number. Anyways, people also had pride and dignity back then, self-respect. But people weren't being taxed to freaking death either. So today, people feel like they're getting it from the local government, county government, state government, federal government. We're getting taxed internationally now, folks, on carbon. Don't think they're not screwing us over with that. People are like, fuck it, I'll take the money. They're screwing the hell out of me already. You bet. Different times, different attitudes, different world. Interestingly, Heidi's parents, yeah, they didn't have a government that was trying to poison them. That was lying to them continuously as a matter of, well, standard operating procedure. But that's what we have today, folks. That's exactly what we have today. Now, let us do this. Who is a hero today? Thank you, Heidi, again, for all your support in front and behind the scenes. Who's the hero, folks? Today, or rather last night, Representative Greg Steube. Greg Steube. Sounds like a Republican name to me. Greg Steube laid out the expected timelines for impeachment proceedings of Joe Biden. He was on the mainstream news, folks. Mainstream news. A representative of Congress is talking about the impeachment proceedings for Biden. He was on actually last Friday with Maria Bartiromo, who is now, I guess, the most right-wing radical person on Fox News. So he put out this timeline. Interesting, right? This is what he said. In my discussions with him, meaning Chairman Comer, the challenge is getting all this subpoena information and financial information from all these different LLCs, that's limited liability corporations, and banks. So they basically launder the money in all these different individual limited liability companies for Joe Biden. So you have to do a specific subpoena to the specific LLC's bank records. So it's going to take some time. I would imagine probably the next 30 to 90 days before you're going to get that financial information back through the subpoenas. So it should be in the next couple of months, hopefully by fall. The Comer will have that information. They can move forward in the committee process to investigate it, bring the information before the American people, and I think we move forward with impeachment proceedings. He ended that with, I think we move forward. They already have the evidence. They already have the proof. Comer says he has it. Who else has it? Senator Grassley has it. How many whistleblowers have there been that say they have it? I understand. Yeah, they need to gather the information. They need to put their case together. We know he has committed treason. You don't have to have bank records to see what he did in Afghanistan to, well, our troops, the Afghan people, the American people who live there who were abandoned. I understand they want an ironclad proof bank account, right? Set a record showing the Biden cartel moving millions of dollars around the planet. Yeah, that's a little bit strange, right? A little bit not allowed. I guess we're going to find out, folks. Is Representative Steube a hero? I don't know, right? Is he like Robert Kennedy Jr.? Is he aware that he is in the crosshairs of the CIA or some other, shall we say, snake in the grass organization? We're going to find out. All right, let's do this. Oh, man, let's do another super chat. But it's not a super chat donation. It's just a question because you guys are super. And it is Charlanator. And she says, the really rich people don't deal in dollars. Dollars is just a way to control us peasants. Imagine that feeling or sensation, folks, as Charlanator suggests. Imagine not seeing your money as dollar signs, but as rather a power. You have this big pile of power sitting there, and you can use this much power to make that much more power. Or you could use this much power to buy a bunch of influence, so that through that influence, you get even more power back. That's how they think of it. Control. The banking control. To control the banking system is to control people's buying behavior, their consumer behavior, through the tax code, through social engineering programs. You can influence people through propaganda, through punishing people with a social credit score. They can control us peasants. They let us make money for a few years, and then we have a recession and we lose a lot of it. And that is the banks clearing the table, enriching themselves, taking from us. They don't want to take too much because then we get mad. They need to leave a little bit on the table so that we can gather that up and then work really hard, plant crops, mine minerals, refine, process, sell, distribute, create wealth again, and bigger, and then, that's right, they knock us down again. It's about control. They give us enough power, enough means through which we can produce, and then they go out there and they take back the houses, and they take back the companies. They take back the cars. Once they've got everything they need again, then they start selling it, putting a mortgage out on it, right? Putting a car loan on it. Hell, they're so damn good at selling fresh air, they call it a diploma. You can get a good job. You can be a better servant if you spend a bunch of money buying fresh air from colleges. All you have to do is go sit behind a desk, repeat what the asshole up front says, and you get a piece of paper that says you're smart. You know how many idiots I've met who have bachelor's degrees? Folks, master's degrees. I've met the smartest, well, let me change that, idiotic PhDs on the planet. They're in the news, folks. They're terrorists. They're perverts. They're complete charlatans and hypocrites. And they have the title professor behind their name, or in front of their name, or next to their name. Yeah, but the truly rich people, folks, they don't really think of things as dollars. They think about, if I have 10 pieces or 10 units of control, if I use them, can I get back 15 units of control, or 20 units of control, or 50 units of control? That's how they think, right? Now, of course, there's a dollar sign in front of what they have, but it's about control. That's really where they're at. Okay, let's move on over. I want to do something fun, folks. Now it's my turn, right? I haven't had a chance to pick on the fruit salad people today. Well, there was a soccer match. It was suspended in Mexico. The CONCACAF. Boy, talking about a lot of letters. They had to suspend the game because the U.S. goalkeeper, Matt Turner, was upset. Why was he upset? Well, because the Mexican fans continuously chanted anti-gay slogans at him. That's right. They had an anti-gay chant they were using. I wonder what it could be. I wonder what it could be. I thought that people were proud of their homosexuality. I thought people were proud of their trans position. I thought people, that was something to be proud of. I don't think so. Because if he was proud of it, he should have turned around and said, thanks for recognizing me. Thank you for acknowledging my gayness. Thank you so much. I love to be this way. I was born this way, or it was a choice. I don't know which way to use and what excuse, but here I am, and I'm so proud to be here. No, they're not proud, folks. They know they're not proud that yeah, being screwed in the ass is not something to be proud of. And so they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, and they had to stop the game, folks. Poor fruitcake. They had to stop the game because they hurt his feelings. I wonder how these LGBTQIA plus people would feel if they were called Nazis every single fucking day, or white supremacists every single day, or homophobes, or heterophobes, or normophobes, or Islamophobes, or xenophobes. That's all they do is call us names every day and tell us we shouldn't be proud of who we are. They actually say we should not be proud of who we are. We should be embarrassed. We should deny ourselves. We should, right? We should admonish ourselves. We should hate ourselves. That's what these lefties say to us, right? How dare you, you white people? How dare you, you black Republicans, you black natives, you black Asians? How dare you? You're all white supremacists. They say that to us all day long, yet they don't cancel football games or soccer games or baseball games or basketball games or hockey games. They don't cancel the workday. We don't get a special holiday. In fact, they gave themselves a month to celebrate how happy they are to be who they are, to be acknowledged and recognized. And when they're acknowledged and recognized, then they, folks, they start crying and demand that the soccer game be canceled or suspended. I think it's fucking hilarious because it shows what a bunch of thin-skinned, chicken shit, hypocritical, lying, fake sacks of shit they are. The guy should have turned around and said, yeah, I suck it, and I'm fine with it. Why didn't he? Where's his pride? Tell you what, I guess it's hard to be proud with a set of testicles resting on your chin, right? These fucking people, right? I guess it's terrible, right? When people actually know what it is you do and they see you for it. I mean, folks, again, I know gay people. So what? Big deal, right? I know they're out there. But you know, wow, I thought they were supposed to be proud. Isn't this the month to be proud? You go to a Pride Month event, which I've never done. I can't imagine how that would go over. But if you went to a Pride Month, they're all there being as gay as fuck. And they're not unhappy or unproud or anything else. Why was this guy, this Matt Turner, U.S. goalkeeper, why did he throw a fit? Was he ashamed? Is he embarrassed by the fact that people knew about him and what he does in the bedroom? I guess so. I guess so. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he whistled when he walks, right? Maybe, I don't fucking know. What a ding dong, though. Anyways, I had to bring that up. Folks, they're not proud of what they are. It's a lie. It's a trap. It's a trick. It's false. It's bullshit. Let's move on. Ooh, man, what do we have next? Who wants to get in there? Who has something to say? Who is up next on the Prepared Mind channel? It is name redacted. He says a $20 gold coin today buys the same cart of goods it did 100 years ago. When people have nothing left to live for, justice will finally come. Oof. That justice will be very interesting. We've all seen the statue, I think, of Justice. It is depicted as a woman who is blindfolded, got a blindfold tied around, holding a set of scales in one hand and a sword in the other. Right? Doesn't get to see, doesn't get to judge that way. It just knows the scales, right? What is right, what is wrong. And then the sword is, right, how justice works. Well, someone has had their hand on the scales of justice, right? They are actually like this, but someone's put their hand over here, right, to make things feel like, yeah, we got justice going on here, right? I have a funny feeling, folks, that after being lied to and tricked and fooled for so long because she's been blindfolded, that she's going to drop the fucking scales, lift the blind, and use that sword where she knows it needs to go. Because, folks, justice doesn't have corks stuck in her ears. She hears what's going on. She may be blinded for the moment, but it's not permanent blindness. It's just a blindfold. That blindfold can come off. She can hear with her ears. She know who is fucked up. I really like that topic, though, name redacted. It allowed me to really bring in that visualization, which I think is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Now, speaking of justice, you, my friends, are not blind. You're not stupid. You're certainly not deaf. And Bank of America, folks, is now going to spend $500 million, $500 million. Bank of America is going to spend $500 million on diversity initiatives. Did that say they're going to spend $500 million on promising businesses with really good business plans that are well thought out, right? And have a future following trends and technology? No, diversity initiatives. Like a diversity hire. In other words, folks, they're going to start throwing money at people who don't deserve it, haven't earned it, and don't know what the hell they're going to do with it other than waste it. That sounds to me like the proper explanation of what a diversity initiative is. $500 million. I would, if I were you, or maybe I should say I would if I were me and I had a Bank of America account, I think I would pull my money out of there and run. Expect more of this kind of stupidity, folks, coming from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all the big banks, folks. Expect more of this shit. Now, whose money are they using? Where are they going to get $500 million when the banking system is supposed to be in big, big trouble right now? Because it is in big trouble. You're just not hearing about it. You aren't hearing about all the trouble the banks are in, yet they're going to throw around $500 million. Well, whose money is that? Now, it's nice to think that banks actually have their own money. Well, they've got liquidity issues, folks. They've got some problems. So whose money are they using? I'm going to keep asking this until it becomes overly apparent. If banks don't have the money to go from day to day, they have to get overnight loans from the Treasury to pay their overnight bills and then continue operating the next day. They used to get those loans from other banks. The banks would loan and lend to each other. Then they stopped accepting that because their debt is chicken shit. It is bad debt. It is not quality loans and mortgages. It's loaded with toxic crap. So whose money is it? Probably the depositors. I don't know for sure because they don't let me look at their records. But knowing that banks are in big trouble, and then they want to use money to just throw around in these diversity type initiatives. Well, if it's not their money, what do they give a fuck happens to it? Because all they really care about is their political agenda. Folks, shit has hit the fan. What's in your wallet? I think that's a great question. And hey, what's in your fridge? What's in your fridge? Well, I know it's not Bud Light. But we talked about when Bud Light and Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, Tranheuser-Busch, InBev Corporation decided they were going to ruin their reputation and piss off all of their longtime supporters. This other beer company called Youngling Beer. They decided they were going to look and sound American. But now, folks, in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, during Pride Month, there was going to be a drag show there that Youngling Beer was sponsoring. Now, I actually know the truth about how this shit works. They got a lot of flack at Youngling Beer over this. And they quickly pulled the Youngling name off of the host supporter for this drag show, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania Pride Month bullshit. I'll tell you what happened, folks. A local distributorship for Youngling beer is the one that sponsored that show. Right, like Budweiser used to sponsor fight events that I would put on at the facility, the entertainment facility that I managed. Budweiser, do you think Anheuser-Busch Corporation out of St. Louis, Missouri, goes to every single entertainment venue that their distributors sponsor? No, they just want to hang out Budweiser banners. And if it's a Coors distributorship, Coors banners, or if it's a Miller distributorship, Miller banners, and they want to sponsor it from their local level. But it's interesting that Youngling, probably corporate, said, hey, we won't be sponsoring any of that shit and putting our name on it. So good for Youngling for stopping their distributors from making stupid, woke decisions. Folks, being invested in beer these days is risky business indeed. Wow. Yeah, you won't catch me buying beer stock. I've made plenty of beer, drank plenty of beer, but I won't be buying and investing in the world of beer. Every one of their brothers making beer, by the way, now. It's not like it's a big secret anymore. Basically, it's liquid bread. Okay, let's see. There we go. Oh, Uman says, pretty soon there won't be any beer safe to buy. That's right. It could actually help the craft beer and boutique beer market. It's like, I don't know if I can buy Bud. No, can't. Can I buy Miller? Coors? I don't know. I may as well just drink one of these local guys' beer. Go to a local brew pub and just drink what they have. After, of course, you question the management. Make sure they don't have a pride flag hanging. Mikey G says, John, you used to call them certified smart people. I did. And if you know that I used to call people certified smart people, experts, then you have been listening to me for a long time. Back in my earlier days, my 20s and 30s, that was a very popular expression amongst me and my friends. People with degrees are certified smart people, and they do make the most ridiculous, idiotic choices and decisions for being so dang smart. Anyways, Mikey G, good catch on that. Yep, certified smart people. They got a degree in fresh aerology, so they're a doctor or a professor. Good God, what a bunch of waste of time people they are, huh? Well, it's been a hell of a week, folks. We're closing out the Free for All Friday. Heroes. Freaking computer, always trying to erase my shit. Are these guys heroes? General Millie Vanilli, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Secretary of Defense Lloyd the Loser Austin, are they heroes? Are they heroes? In Ukraine, their offensive, their spring offensive, their big push on the Russians seems to be failing. Yeah, they're certified smart people too, Mikey. They sure are. Are they heroes, folks? They used to be, you could look up to these guys, right? One of the big hero types that I remember was General Norman Schwarzkopf. Talk about a fucking German name. General Schwarzkopf, who led the first Gulf War. He was asked if he had political aspirations, that he could be the next Eisenhower type president. And he turned it down. Why do you think General Schwarzkopf turned it down? Because he was a hero? Because he was afraid? Because he knew better? Because he had dignity and respect? because he knew that he couldn't be himself if he were president. Could be a mix of all those things, folks, a mix of all those things. Where are today's heroes? With the internet and all of the paparazzi reporting, everyone having an opinion out there, it's kind of hard to see anybody as good enough to be a hero. Certainly not a savior. But I like to look and see who are the anti-heroes. Who are the anti-heroes? We talk about them all the time. The George Soroses and Bill Gates. Bill Gates, by the way, took a little trip to China and talked, had a nice public sit down with his buddy Xi Jinping. Interesting, folks, isn't it? Interesting how these people are. Bill Gates is an anti-hero. Soros, right? The Warren Buffetts of the world, the Joe Bidens of the world, the Barbara Boxer, not Barbara Boxer, shit, she was a senator. Dianne Feinstein, the other California Democrat who's been there forever. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. Didn't want to leave the females out on this, right? The anti-heroes in this country and around the world. Around the world. In fact, there's, Christine Lagarde, effete, snobby-looking bitch who runs the IMF, International Monetary Fund. I believe, if I'm correct, she is a convicted criminal. Look it up. Is Christine Lagarde a criminal? Look it up. Yet she's in charge of the IMF. Really? Who are the heroes? Who are they, and who are the anti-heroes, folks? Who do you look up to? Who do you think can help? You got to look in the mirror and see who the hero is in your world. You really do. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, is you need to look in the mirror. There is the hero, or the potential hero. That's the person who is going to save you. That is how this works, folks. Unbelievable. People have had Biden's number for a long time, folks. They've known about Ukraine since before the election. People that hid all that information from us to confuse and fool, scare voters in America into voting for Biden, they know they're the anti-heroes. That person in the mirror, that's your hero. All right, let's do this, folks. We're at the end of the show, and I got one more question I want to take a look at. We'll take Mikey G down, and Ooman's going to put one up. Hey, and it's from Ooman. He says, pride is the first deadly sin, along with greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, and sloth. The left checks all of the boxes. Yikes. Pride precedeth the fall. Right? Pride. I think that was the devil's sin, was it not? His pride standing before the Almighty. Interesting, is it not, that same deadly sin, pride, is what these fruitcakes all revel and marvel in as their pride? Yet, folks, didn't we just demonstrate that they have no pride? It's false pride. It's a lie. It's a trick. That's the devil's trick with these people. He tells them to be proud, creates a situation that they think they can be proud of, but actually they are a bunch of cowardly, weak, slimy little turds. They've accomplished nothing, and they have hurt many. Pride. But yeah, we look at the rest of these things that Ooman's brought to our attention. The other deadly sins: greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony, sloth. Does that, or does it not, sound like our good buddies, the socialists out there, right? Greed, right? That's the rich people in charge, just screwing everyone. Wrath, that would be the fruitcakes out there whose anger is unleashed on us all the time. Envy. That's right. They jealously, these socialist Democrats and rhino Republicans, they jealously look at what everyone else has and they covet it. Right? Gluttony. Look at how, shall we say, slovenly these people are, consuming everything they can. And then sloth. They're a bunch of lazy fucks, expecting everyone else to pay their way. I tell you what, it's been one hell of a week. And I want to tell everyone, thank you for being here on the Prepared Mind channel. I'll be back for Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe. Pow. Thumbs up. Yes. Hit the notification bell so when I send out posts, that's right, I post things on YouTube as well as at the thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com, but I'll post things. You'll get notifications that the next broadcast is coming, and the next broadcast, unless I do a super secret Saturday broadcast, the next one will be Sunday for Sunday Night Live. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Chance favors the Prepared Mind is yours. Semper Fi. Always faithful. Godspeed.